Hey lovelies, right, let's have a look at Airfix Model World issue 174. We have BF 109 E3 E4 on the front here. Airfix is reissued 148 scale BF 109. Armoured Akak and Record Breaker. Let's have a look, shall we? So we have, right, so Heineman's dump truck. Gary Tobis builds the latest version of Zuke Mura's magnificent 132 scale A1 Sky Raider. So this was the precursor to the A10 Warthog Thunderbolt. This was used in the same role as the A10 during Vietnam, often lending ground suppression support to pilot rescue, with the parajumpers going in to rescue down pilots. Out and About curtain raising classic. Is that, where's that? That's not there. Oh, that's that one. That looks like an F-22 maybe? No, modern grey jets seem to be in vogue at the moment with Revell's new tool, 172 scale F-35A Lightning, so it's a Lightning, joining the fray. So advanced build, 36, that's this. There's something special about Schneider Trophy racers as Tony Canfora discovers when tackling SBS models resin 172 scale Mackie MC-72 float plane. Intermediate build, Armoured Akak. Paul Cork takes a step outside his usual builds to take on Trumpeter's 135 scale Mercedes-Benz L4500A truck with 3.7 flak gun. Right. 64. Advanced build, Italy's Initial Heavy. That's an ugly tracked vehicle. New contributor Carol Soot takes on the challenge of improving crime models, imposing 135 scale Fiat 2000 heavy tank, completing it as a combat-weary machine. Basic build, Admiral's Barge. Airfix's 172 vintage classic range evokes plenty of nostalgia with Ethan Williams' experience as he builds a Whirlwind Has 22. Okay, let's get into it. Get set for Model World Live 2025. Second ever Model World Live event is just weeks away. When is it? April 26th. So it's been, I'm obviously late getting this out. So it's been and gone. But yeah, that looks good. If I'd have known about that, because I didn't manage to pick this up until the 26th, and this is the first time looking through it. And then we're into news. So Zuke Mura issues 148 EF4C Phantom. Wild Weasels. Very nice too. That's those. Italeri 172 HU19 Chickasaw returns. That's this Danish 50 years F-16 scheme from Sideheart. We have a Macross Batroid YF19 from Hasegawa. Tamir completes its 148 scale F-35 family. And then we have some modelling lamps, both floor standing, clamp on, or freestanding on the desk. Display case, readers models, We have a 1/1200 scale, 1/1200 scale Titanic here. One of Airfix's 172 scale Hawker Typhoon. 1/16 Bugatti Type 59 Grand Prix. And here we go, Heineman's dump truck. So this is a 132 scale. It's £109.99 from Zuke Mura .co.jp and tigerhobbies.co.uk. Yeah, I mean that's a really nice colour scheme as well. Normally the ones you normally see in a lot of pictures are in that light aircraft grey that was prevalent in sort of like the 60s and 70s. The other thing as well is that Sky Raiders often there's like quite a lot of like oil deposits streaming out from the back of the engine cowling here, going down the side of the aircraft. Close up of the instrument panels shows you'll need to mask each dial face on the clear part. Okay. So you get a clear instrument panel, which you will obviously then need to deal with. Looking at the cockpit tub and cockpit rear, it looks impressive. Like the detail for the interior is really impressive. Detail again here on the side. Rear fuselage. The engine, the radio engine, looks really nicely detailed. Various bits and pieces there. And a shot of it put together. But yeah, looking really nice. Bovington show, February 2025. We have the Great War SIGs, Nigel Raymer transformed the splendid Copper State models 132 Newport 11 into this neat and attractive replica. We have a 135 scale Land Rover recovery vehicle here. And then we have a Marder, Dragon 135 scale Marder 2. And this is that a Kangaroo? Did they call it Kangaroo? Yeah, there we go. Pool Vikings Model Club IPMS Dorset display included Gecko models 135 scale Ram Mark II Kangaroo armoured personnel carrier. It's essentially a tank that they took the turret off of so that they could, and used a lot by the Canadians, so that they could transport troops. They had an armoured vehicle that they could transport troops into battle with. Essentially, that's all it was. Behold the beast. Hugh Morgan gets to grips with a test shot of Revell's pending 172 F-35A Lightning II. So yeah, these have really, really hit the market, haven't they? With so many different companies making their own versions. So this is from Revell, it's 172 scale, and it's £29.99 from Revell stockists. This is a slightly lighter grey tones than perhaps seen on some of the US and UK airframes, I want to say. It looks different. Tonally it looks different, paint-wise. Record breakers, here we go. In the late 1920s and early 30s, was an exciting aviation era during which arguably some of the most beautiful aircraft designs were developed by this time. Flying machines had become more reliable and at least to some extent safer to fly than previously, meaning that limits, notably speed, climb or range, could be pushed further, all as designers were still exploring the use of civilian aircraft. For people in general, speed seemed to be the most thrilling aspect, and many competitions were arranged, one of the more famous being the Schneider Trophy, which was held between 1930 and 1931. Curtiss American, Supermarine British and Macchi Italian dominated the number of entries, but there were also examples from CAMS, Savoy, Newport and Sopwith, Gloucester and Bernard. Never heard of Bernard as an engineering company, aviation engineering company. So the last race, it says here, in 1931 was won by Supermarine S6B, which set new course speed record of 380 miles per hour. But we're looking at this, which is a Macchi MC72 SBS models. It's €40 in 172 scale from sbsmodels.com. And it is a mostly resin kit from what I have read. So major components of the kit still attached to their casting blocks. Care was taken not to ruin any detail when removing them. What was immediately striking were the many brass radiator surfaces, which were replicated with stunning delicacy. And it's a nice colour as well. I love this. Love this, like red with the brass. Yeah, it's not, I would not feel comfortable or confident building something like this. I think I would potentially ruin it, but it looks nice. And that's a really striking aircraft. Then we have, for our armour fans, this armoured anti-aircraft gun truck. And this is from Trumpeter. It's the L4500A MIT 3.7 centimetre flak 37. It is in 135 scale. It's £69.99. You can get it from backman.co.uk. And they're doing an intermediate build on this, but it looks fantastic, even if they're not bringing in a lot of extra parts. PE, so looking at this, are the PE frames included? "13 styrene runners, 3 photo etched PE brass frets, a single piece armoured cab and vinyl rubber tyres." There you go, that's what's included in the kit. So you do get PE photo etched parts, which is nice to see, and they do look good actually as the mesh on that. The gun looks reasonably well detailed as well. As you would expect from a 135 scale kit. It looks like you get a photo etched splinter shield as well for the gun and crew protection. And then we're into Universal Model Show. Loving this guy. John Strachan painted this Jacobite piper as if he was at the 1746 Battle of Culloden, carrying not just the bagpipes but also a claymore. Claymore being a Scottish sword. Action stations, Top Gun Deck, Man of War, 1805. This nice little vignette here. A superb scratch-built 132 scale action stations diorama depicting the upper gun deck of a Royal Navy man of war was created by Real Scale Models Club's James Pennicott, with Hornet heads and Hysterex muskets adding the finishing touches. And then a nice new modeler. RAF Quick Build RAF Red Arrows Hawk from Red Dragon Modelers, Alor Evans. Ace of Spades. Right, so this is a basic build. It's the Airfix 148 scale BF 109E4, straight from the box as JG53's Fighter Ace Rolf Peter Pingal. It is £29.99 from uk.airfix.com. Yeah, and it's looking nice. I'm loving the mottled spots on the camouflage system, and then the splinter pattern on the side. That's on the upper wings, and then the splinter pattern, the sharp angles of the splinter pattern on the fuselage, basically. And it's looking pretty detailed as well, although there looks like to be quite a few injector pin marks here. Yeah, it's looking really nice. That's a really nice example and finish there. Well worth getting. Right, Italy's Initial Heavy, and it's an ugly tank. Do you know what? This is the sort of design I'd expect to see like orcs come up with in Warhammer 40k. It's ugly. It's an ugly vehicle. It's my first time seeing one of these, actually. So, Fiat 2000 heavy tank early from Kriel model. It's 135 scale. It's €130 from Kriel.model, and it just says Facebook. Yeah. Is this a resin kit? Resin, yeah. It's a resin kit. So there's probably potentially going to be a lot of cleanup of sprue gates, big sprue gates, from where this has potentially been cast in a mould, because it doesn't look 3D rendered. It is an interesting subject. This has got to be either World War I or Interwars. Sometimes I feel the urge to build something other than my preferred artillery subjects. Yeah, World War I tanks, but wanted to avoid the usual British, German or French machines. This led me to the Apennine Peninsula and Italy, where designers from industrial giant Fiat created a true heavyweight tank, the 40-ton Fiat 2000. With just 2 units built, this was one of the least produced vehicles of its kind. Together with the French FT, it was one of just 2 designs that would be readily identifiable to the layman as a tank. Really? Yeah, okay then. I do like the way it's painted. The modeler here has done a really good job with the painting and weathering on this. and the colour scheme, the camouflage colour scheme is unusual. But my God, is it ugly. Cool. Right. So, Admiral's Barge, we have Airfix's Vintage Classic, Westland Whirlwind HAS 22 in 172 scales, £10.99 from airfix.com. So, being an Airfix Vintage Classic, do expect to have some issues with this kit. In particular, you might have a need for filling seam lines and stuff like that. And some of the detail may be lacking. But it looks like the author of this article, the modeler here, has done a really good job in bringing this together and the finish. And then out of the box, Mike Grant encounters no red flags as he builds clear props 172 Lavochkin LA5. So Lavochkin LA5 late version clear prop 172 scale, €22 from clearpropmodels.com. I don't recall seeing these much in any sort of like literature that I've had in the past. But it looks a nice aircraft. Interesting masking here underneath. In order to paint the wheel wells, basically, by the look of it. But yeah, that looks like a really nice little kit. Right, and we are into books on the shelf. We have Pack, a photo study of German anti-tank weapons, €31.13 from canfora.se. Fiat Air Italia Fighters, £40 from creasy.co.uk. Lockheed Constellation, £27.99 from gazellebookservices.co.uk. SU-152, ISU-152 versus Tiger, 1943-45, Eastern Front. £14.99 from Osprey Publishing. And then we have Operation Restore Hope. And that says US military intervention in Somalia and the Battle of Mogadishu, 1992 to 1994. That's £19.95 from hellion.co.uk. Aircraft kits, we have an Airbus A340-300, Lufthansa new livery 1/144 scale, £32.49 from Revel Stockists. Mirage F1C C200 Army Delair, Special Hobby 172 scale, €19.20 from specialhobby.eu. They Fought to Rebuild, Edward 148 scale, £43.72 from edward.com. This is, if you like Spitfires or are interested in foreign pilots who flew with the RAF in World War II, Edward's 148 scale, They Fought to Rebuild products is for you. Parts for 2 entire models are supplied, along with photo etched metal parts, paint masks and decals for 12 airframes. All but one of the War Machines wear standard day fighter camouflage, while 2 clipped wing Mark Vs are also represented. The boxing offers a fascinating theme and interesting schemes. JU-87G1 Stuka Cannonvogel. So this is the tank buster, which was armed with those huge flak 3.7 centimeter flak 18 guns in pods under the wings. So this is artillery 148 scale, £37.99 from hobbyco.net. We have a TU-22M2 Backfire B anti-ship missile carrier in 1/144 scale. And this is £49.99 from hanants.co.uk. And then Miles Messenger early 172. Now this is Kvozovody Prostjevov. Sorry, I do apologise if I'm murdering these names. From kvozovody.cz. We then have, in 1/200 scale from Hasegawa, a Kawasaki EC1 Electronic Warfare Squadron, and that's £44.99 from Angmarang. Sorry, from amarang.co.uk. So it's a C1 transport, Kawasaki C1 transport. The EC1 Electronic Warfare Trainer version. So Nippon Kokuki, Kogyo D1 Planet models scale 172, €56.10 from specialhobby.eu. That's this thing. We have a PZLP 24AF fighter in Turkish service. This is IBG models 172 scouts, €13 from ibg.com.pl. Mosquito FB6 in 1/144 scale. Amiens Prison Raid, €20.37 from eShopMiniWing.cz. And then we have a Defiant NF Mark II radar fighter. So this would have been a night fighter. Special Hobby scale 172, €19.20 from specialhobby.eu. Vehicles and armour. We have a Leopard 2 A7V in 172 scale from Revel, £22.99 from Revel stockists. A Type 2 Ho-E Japanese infantry support tank, IBG models 172 scale, €14 from ibg.com.pl. German 3-ton cargo truck from Miniart, 135 scale, £52.99 from creativemodels.co.uk. We have a SDKFZ 164 Nashorn from Revel in 172 scale, £16.99 from Revel stockists. We then have a German 7.5 centimetre anti-tank gun Pack 40 mid-production with artillery crew. It's nice that you get artillery crew with these kits. You know, especially in the smaller 172 scale and 176 scale, it's a real pain in the ass. A lot of these kits do not come with a gun crew. But obviously with the 135 scale kits and their use more with dioramas and stuff like that, quite often they come with a crew, which is nice, which is sadly missing, I think, from smaller scales. Anyway, Miniart 135 scale, $29.99 from creativemodels.co.uk. And SDKFZ 3B with Flak 38 Trumpen Luftschutzwagen, ICM 135 scale, £53.20 from hanants.co.uk. We then have a glut of figures here. We have German Ground Staff, North Africa, 148 scale, Miniart, $14.99, creativemodels.co.uk. German Gun Crew, Miniart, 135 scale. All of these are Miniart, and they're all going to be coming from creativemodels.co.uk. So Gun Crew, $13.99, 135 scale. German Soldiers Winter, 1941-42, $13.99, 135 scale. Workers with Concrete Mixer, Miniart, 135 scale, $13.75. Paint Workers, 135 scale, 13.75, and then Panzer Grenadiers Set 2, 135 scale, 13.99. We then have Stranger Things from Revell, Billy's Chevy Camaro, and this is 124 scale, £41.99 from Revell stockists. I believe it's an older kit, which is, the Revell monogram Z28 1979 Camaro gets a livery makeover to match the car driven by Stranger Things character Billy Hargrove. Although the parts are unchanged, it comprises 5 styrene runners, 4 of which are white plastic, plus a 5th clear frame for glazing and headlights, along with separate body shell and 4 solid vinyl tyres, while the kit originates from 1979, as evidenced by the date stamp on the interior tub. The detail is pleasing throughout, and it can be built as a street customised with a large engine supercharger or race car. So I would expect that kit itself probably, if it was just being sold as a Camaro without the license attached, would probably be half the price. And it really annoys me. Let me know how you feel about it, but it really annoys me that they jack prices up, especially when it's just a reboxing of an older kit with new livery, new paint scheme. It really gets my goat when they jack it up just because they've got the license for a particular IP, in this case Stranger Things. Tempo A400 Lieferwagen Baker Van Mini Art 135 scale, 42.99, creativemodels.co.uk, and a YT 5113A Yanmar tractor in 135 scale from Hasegawa. It's 39.99 from amarang.co.uk. 4-ship Koenig class combo Dreadnought box set from ICM. Wow, 4 kits in one. Ukrainian manufacturer ICM has taken a leaf from its military vehicle playlist and applied it to the 4 1700 Koenigs class German Dreadnought kits. These were issued initially between 2016 and 18 and have now been reissued as a box set that's a whopping 26% cheaper than buying all 4 separately. So there you go. It's 1/700 scale and the price is £71.80 from Hanantz. Decals. We have M8 75mm HMC D-Day and France 1944 Star Decals 148 scale, $7.50 from stardecals.net. Bell UH-1B Iroquois RNOAF, that's from Vingtor, 172 scale, £8.85 from Vingtor.net. Hurricane C, Hurricane Mark 2B Mark 10 US Eagle Part 6, Ask Distribution, scale 132 scale, £17.60 from artscale.eu. Raphael C11EF Tiger Meat 2012 EC5 330 Côte d'Argent. Is the EC5 330, is that a Puma variant? Wasn't the Puma an SA 330? Anyway, it's from Skyheart, 172 scale, €20 from skyheartdecal.fr. Potez 25 Renault Lorraine Soundson. From is the manufacturer, scale 172, €6.60 from.com, and that's FRROM.com. And then Douglas TB1D Devastator, Arts Distribution, scale 132, €11.60 from artscale.eu. And then aftermarket parts, we have FA18C basic update, Buno's 1639.85 and up. And that's from Flying Leathernecks Scale Creations, 148 scale, $10. FlyingLeathernecksDecals.com. We have some F16AU MLU wheels, 148 scale from Edward, £4.72, edward.com. PMBR Practice Multiple Bomb Rack Unloaded. Flying Leathernecks again, 148 scale, from FlyingLeathernecksDecals.com. AH-1G Turret Armament Minigun and Grenade Launcher Barrels, CMK 135 scales, €5.80 from CMKKits.com. We have an FA-18D interior, Edward scale, by Edward, scales 148 scale, it's £11.80 from edward.com. Some aerial bases and roof sights. Common sight of military vehicles, these are numerous types of aerial mounts, so yeah. And these are arse distribution, 135 scale, €7.80. We have an F4F seat from Edward in 172 scale, £3.07, and that's edward.com. And then F15E Strike Eagle ejection seats from Special Hobby, 148 scale, specialhobby.eu, €14.20. Then we have the final few adverts, and then the show guide, which I will do the photographs for. So, lovelies, hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Alright, take care, bye bye.